Hey, David, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Awesome, awesome. So let's start real quick by telling everybody how you started Sports One Marketing and what that little journey was like. I know it was a crazy ride, and you have it in your book, which I just started reading, and it's really incredible. But tell everybody what that was like and how you really landed there.
Yeah, I teach people not to limit their point of entry. And if, so many people come up to me and go, man, I want to be you someday. I want to have your job, and I laugh because they say, how can I get there? And when I tell you my journey, if I explain this is how I got here, I think only one thing would come to mind. Don't limit your point of entry. There's no direct path. There's just the enjoyment of the consistent, persistent pursuit of the path. I grew up poor, wanted to be rich, to buy my mom a house and a car, thought I'd be a professional football player. I played football in college, but from the very first play in college, I got ran over. So I figured I probably wasn't going to be an NFL star. So following my mom's direction, which was doctor, lawyer, or failure, I thought I'd be a doctor. So
Good Jewish kid, right?
Yeah, exactly. I started pre-med. My brother was a physician doing his residency at UCLA. I went to visit him, and that's where I learned one of the most critical lessons of my life, to be more interested than interesting. So many people come up to me and say, I want to be a sports agent, and they know about as much about being a sports agent as I did at 18 years old to be a doctor, because there's one thing for me I didn't realize about being a doctor. That was that you had to be in hospitals. And I literally hate hospitals. And I thought if I was going to be a sports doctor, I never would have to see a hospital. My oldest brother explained to me I was a moron and that I should be more interested than interesting. So following my mom's direction, once again, from doctor right to lawyer, I decided I'd go to law school, which I did. And when I graduated law school, that's where my first true decision came, was to be a real lawyer or to get a job in the internet. And so I went to my mom. I was blessed to be offered two positions, one as a litigator for oil and gas to make a lot of money to buy her a house and a car, but the other was to sell legal research online. And this is the early 90s, so you're talking 56K modems, DOS. I know a lot of the young kids don't even know what that means. It was literally
That's me. I don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
Talk about learning the lesson of patience. Anyone that searched Netscape in 1991 or two knows the definition of the word patience. It's like watching paint dry to do a search. Anyway, my mom told me without blinking that I should get a job as a litigator to be a real lawyer because the internet was a fad. And she was convinced of it. Thus, lesson number two, point of entry, just because someone loves you doesn't mean they'll give you good advice. A lot of times we resent the people who love us most because we ask them for advice that they know nothing about. You're not going to go to a surgeon and ask him how to change your oil. And that's what I did. I went to my surgeon and I asked her to change oil. Anyway, I was blessed. I sold legal research online. Within 9 months, I was a millionaire. Bought my mom a house, a car, paid off my law loans, pursued a career in technology, which made me at 32 the CEO of the world's first smartphone, the world's first Windows CE device called the PCE phone. And still,
for all those young kids listening, basically what the phone you're holding in your hand is all credit to you.
not credit to me, but yeah, the engineers at Windows actually. But moreover, in Cyberbank in Korea, but moreover, follow my career so far. Since the time I was 5 years old, I was very focused on making money to buy my mom a house and a car. By 32, I have built a technology career with a law degree, right? That's what I've done. But yet I'm 50 years old and I'm one of the most notable people in sports, in the entire world, in the sports business world, and especially the sports technology world. But here I am, 32 years old, and I have so many, the reason I bring it up is I have so many people at 32 tell me it's too late, right? That, their whole career is over, and I'm so perplexed. But anyway, I ended up being the CEO of the world's first smartphone, retiring or getting fired, really, because the company grew. It was Samsung manufactured, grew to the second largest manufacturer of phones. Outkicked my coverage, retired, became an investor. Still now, I'm 35 years old, nothing to do with sports other than sponsoring a ton of stuff, advertising, hiring athletes. I was a customer of sports agentry. Anyway, I end up getting a job through that, meeting Lee Steinberg, the most notable sports agent of all time. He hired me to be an executive and then CEO with his company. And then I became a partner with Lee Steinberg and Warren Moon. In there, 2 years into the job, because I had lost my focus, surrounded myself with the wrong people, the wrong ideas, I actually lost everything. And to me, that was the best moment of my life because I learned radical humility. I learned to ask for help. I learned to be of service, to wake up every morning, pray for 10 people that I could help, which led me to discussing these matters of making a lot of money to help a lot of people and have a lot of fun with Warren Moon, my business partner. And 10 years ago, we spun off now what's a global sports marketing and media company, Sports One Marketing, which I'm the co-founder and CEO with Hall of Fame quarterback Warren Moon.
That's incredible. It's incredible. And I want to touch upon I want to talk about that key moment where you started first of all, I want to know if you know where that tipping point of losing all that money was. Where was that tipping point of finally slipping off the end of the cliff?
So there's 3 warnings, I would say, 3 moments that come to mind. The first is when I was 30 years old. I had a stressful relationship with my real father. He had divorced my mom when I was 5 years old, and he was my hero. But at 10 years old, and my mom never said one negative thing about my father, but at 10 years old, my father forgot my birthday. Wow. So you can imagine your hero forgetting your birthday at 10. What he did was, one of the biggest mistakes of.
Was he a dick or he just forgot?
He just forgot. He had, okay, all these kids, and he had his girlfriend, and it just hurt. Anyway, he told me that he didn't forget my birthday, that he just didn't believe in birthdays. So not only did he forget my birthday, he now was going to punish me, which then, as a teenager, really made me hate him. And but at 30 years old, I got a birthday present from my dad. I was trying to reestablish a relationship, learning to understand him, not change him. I get a gift, and it's a beautiful sport coat, custom fit to me, which really meant a lot because it meant that he called my wife and asked for my sizes. But the weird thing was, I opened the jacket up, and there was nothing inside. He had ripped out all the lining, the pockets and everything. First warning came because he told me, as I was furious with him, "Why are you torturing me again with this gift?" He said, "Because you're just like me. And I want this to be the best gift of your life. Because I don't want you to wear the jacket. I want you to hang it in the closet to remind yourself you can't take anything with you. I don't want you to be the richest man in the cemetery." And so that was warning number one, that I was going down the wrong path, that my father, who saw all the similarities in me and him, wanted to help me. And all the reasons I hated my father were all the things I hated about myself as I look back, and I've learned about myself. Yeah. And second warning was I was playing golf with my best friend who I've known since the 4th grade. And I asked him why he wasn't hanging out with me anymore. And he said, "Because I don't like the people you hang out with." And I'm like, "Well, I don't do what those guys do, and he looked at me straight in the eye and just said, "Man, you can lie to me, but don't lie to yourself. Good things are not coming your way. You've always been a mensch. Good things are not coming your way. You've got to surround yourself with the right people, ideas, David. And I'm not going to surround myself with those people." Finally, the last warning, which happened 2 years before I lost everything, that set me on the right path. What most people don't know is, when you lose over $100 million in assets, it takes a while. But you 2 years before I lost everything I knew I had to fix it, is I lied to my wife. I came home at 5:30 in the morning. I was with Little John, the rapper, at the Grammy Awards, and I lied to her, and she basically, for the first time in my life, told me that she wasn't happy. I've known my wife since the 4th grade. She hated me in the 4th grade. 6th grade, I asked her to go steady. I threw an egg at her because she said no. But I loved her, and this was my life. My daughters and my wife are my life. And so when she told me that I was lost and that I better take stock in who I was and what I want to become, or else we may not ever be together again, I woke up and I started living my life with gratitude, forgiveness, accountability, inspiration, effective communication, living my life of service. And even though 2 years later, I had lost everything, I had already been on a path, and I had no fear. No fear. The only fear I had when I lost everything was having to go to my mom's house. And as I realized that morning that I never took my mom's house off of my name and go tell my mom not only I was bankrupt, but she would have to move out of her house.
Wow.
Because, which really hurt, because the only reason I wanted to be rich was to buy her a house. And here I'd screwed up so bad, living my life, as a manipulator, not a motivator, not living my life with the core values that she taught me. And to that day, she reminded me, when I went to go tell her that, she did not flinch again. All she said to me is, "Are you okay? Anything I can do for you? Do you need any money?" That's all she said.
Amazing.
That's all she said. Unconditional love, unconditional service. And that is what I have, written about and connected to goodness, compassionate capitalism, living my life of service, teaching people that you can be in receivership, that you can make a lot of money to help a lot of people and have an extraordinary life of fun, filled purpose and passion and profitability.
Wow. Wow. And how does that shape you as a parent, knowing that your mother had that unbelievable love for you no matter what you put her through? How does that shape you as a parent?
My biggest fear of a parent is that I can provide my children everything.
Opposite of what your parents were able to do, right?
Right, except for what my mom had provided to me, right? I'm certain I can provide everything for my kids that my mom couldn't, but I don't have the certainty that I can provide what my mom has provided to me in the character, into the purpose. Right? I'm not one of those guys that say, "Oh, I grew up poor," and yeah, we struggled to have food on the table. We struggled to have a car that worked. We struggled to have a dishwasher that worked. We had a 2-bedroom apartment at one time with all those kids and my mom. But I was always happy. Right? I was always happy. The only reason I wanted to be rich is the only time I wasn't happy is if I caught my mom crying because of financial stresses. Right? Couldn't afford this, worried about sending us to college. But my siblings, the environment that she created, I want to figure out, can you create that type of drive? And to be quite honest, not to brag, I know I sound like one of those parents that I never thought I would, but I do. But I have 3 teenage daughters, and none of them got a B. Right? We just got the report cards from the thing, and that might sound silly. It might sound like your typical Jewish dad, but I don't care about the grades. But what it's telling me is they're doing their best. Right? Because I know with the intellectual capabilities that they have and the advantages that they have, that if they do their best, they should get all A's. Right? It's not like if I do my best in basketball, I'm not going to be graded all A's on dribbling, passing, rebounding, shooting, etc. if I do my best. But I know my children, if they do their best, they should get all A's. And I know I'm on the right track. I will tell you, though, that that is the greatest challenge, is how do you empower those people who have everything? But you can.
Right. Wow. So while you were in that place of like that crazy roller coaster, talk to me about, how do you stay focused or keep that rock solid mindset of knowing what you need to do, or knowing that this is not the end and this is not going to define who you are as a person, and you're not going to allow this to crush you, but you're just going to keep on going and push forward and know that you're able to get back to where you were before? How do you deal with that?
A lot of people ask me that. For me, You know, it's understanding the present, putting faith. My mom had always taught me to put faith in the future, right? Don't put faith in the past. If you put faith in the past, you're going to get more of the past. And if you put faith in what you want, you're going to get more of what you want. And then, you know, beyond having faith, which I think is so important in the pursuit of my potential, which I always had, what I also had was radical humility. You know, I had to take accountability. In the day that I took accountability, it made it easy to know that I'd be okay. You know, remember, I have an unconscious competency to attract abundance into my life. Not many people get out of law school with $100,000 in debt and are millionaire in 9 months and continue to make millions after that. And in my mind, I said to myself, hold on a second. When I lived with gratitude, you know, when I lived with forgiveness, when I lived with accountability, when I lived an inspired life, everything came to me rapidly and accurately. I didn't know anyone when I graduated law school. I owed money. I was in debt when I graduated law school. I never had a real job when I graduated law school. It wasn't like I went to a huge college like USC where I had alumni, you know, begging to help me all around the world. You know, I went to Occidental College because they let me play football, and there was 1,500 students. So you can accumulate the 100 years of alumnus that existed, and it still didn't equal 1 year of Ohio State or USC alumni. But for me, I had great fortitude and confidence that if I could look up, I could get up, that I was going to put faith. I mean, this time around, I had faith that if I was of service, if I woke up every morning praying for 10 people to help, that only focused in on providing value and expanding my vessel so I could be in receivership, so that not only could I be grateful like the first time around for everything that I had, knowing as in the past that everything happens in my favor for me, but even more importantly, that I am grateful for everything I've allowed to happen to me, and I add value to it. I appreciate it, and I give it away. And I give it away because you do not know what you have, and you cannot give anything away that you do not have. So what you need to do is be grateful for everything you have, appreciate it, add value to it, and give it away by being of service and providing value. And when you do that, you will have recognition. You will have awareness of that true fulfillment of what you have the minute you give it away. And guess what? You expand, which allows you to be in receivership for even more. And it just keeps coming through you, and through you, not for you, and definitely not to you like a victim.
Wow. Wow. It's so true. And also, it's not like, I think when people hear giving, they think of money or they think of their own materialistic things, but it's also true with spiritual, emotional, everything, like your love, your ability to give as a contribution, as a volunteer, anything, just your ability to give as a person is so powerful. It's so true.
I'll tell you this, try just going one day of your life doing as many good deeds as you can without giving money. Open doors, smile, put a hug on somebody. Try it. That's all I say. With no money. Just spend one 24-hour activity concentrating and focusing of being of service. Watch what happens. It's like how I teach people, just say thank you before you go to bed and when you wake up, and in 30 straight days, you do that for 30 straight days, your life will change. I have thousands of people who have emailed, texted me, DM me, tweeted, all that said, oh, I did it. It's not easy either. It took me 9 months to say thank you before I went to bed and when I woke up for 30 straight days without missing. Consistency is one of the great inhibitors of human nature. We are so self-sabotaging. We're so far in our own way, creating resistance, stress, void, an obstacle that we can't do anything, even if it's free and we know it has only positive effects. It's so difficult for us to do it every day without missing one day. My favorite example is this: I saw there's a guy who his life quest was to videotape 1 minute a day for every day, and he was going to do it for 5 years, right? Or maybe it was even 10 seconds. I don't know. But my favorite part of watching the movie when it was done was day 45, because day 45. All of a sudden, this is his life goal, right? You would think this is his job. Day 45, he holds up a napkin like this, and it says, oh, shoot, I forgot. That is human nature. That is the consistency that we need. I teach consistency. That's how things become persistent. That's how you have purpose and passion and pursuit. Your potential is relying upon the ability to do something every day. Trust me.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So I know you've talked about in like all the things I've watched and done research on you. I know when you had money and you were at like that peak of where you felt you were like at the top of the world and you were the shit. Talk to me about believing that if I get this, I'll be happy, or if I get that, I'll be happy. If I have this much money, or if I have this job, or if I have this car, this house, this yacht. Talk to me about that. What is
Yeah,
true
one of
happiness?
the most counterintuitive things is being goal oriented, but detaching your emotions, your happiness from outcomes. My whole life I spent, when I buy my mom a house and a car, I am going to be so happy. When I graduate law school, I'm going to be happy. When I get married, when I have kids, when I make my first million, my first 10 million, my first 100 million, when this property closes, when this job, when I get this job, we sign this client, it went on and on in my life. And what I realized that happiness was not attached to any outcome, that my emotions were always supposed to be in a trajectory towards the pursuit. The emotions should be in a trajectory to the pursuit of my potential, my truth, not in the pursuit of an end, not in the pursuit of an end, but in my potential. And more upon when my emotions, the ego-based emotions like the need to be right, offended, separate, inferior, superior, guilty, fearful, anxious, frustrated, angry. We can go down a list of what the ego does to us. But when I feel my emotions are not on the trajectory, are not aiming towards my potential, because the ego has now adjusted the trajectory to somewhere else, what does it do? It pulls away from the potential. When I'm going to the potential, there's no resistance. When I'm pulling away with the ego, it creates resistance, shortages, voids, and obstacles. So you have to detach your emotions from the outcome and just pursue the potential. Because once we put an outcome to it, it changes the trajectory, because the outcome is emotional or ego-based. You can't name one of those things that I just listed that doesn't have some sort of ego-based instead of my truth. My truth has no ego. My potential has no ego. But $1 million has ego attached to it. Law school and a wife and kids and closing a client. And, all of those things have ego attached, which creates resistance instead of just pursuing your potential. I know it's counterintuitive. I have goals, but I just pursue my potential. And I know that those goals will be milestones towards my potential. And what I do with happiness now, besides enjoy the pursuit of my potential consistently and persistently, is I know that when I reach something, my job is to say, okay, what did I do to allow this to come to me? Let's say it's a Ferrari, right? I'm not a big fan of Ferraris anymore, but I had one. But I think people should, if they want one, they should have that as a milestone. Their happiness should not be attached to it. But when they allow a Ferrari to come in their life, they should say to themselves, what did I do to attract this? And what am I supposed to learn from it? Now, if that does keep your happiness and maintain it, then you should maintain the car. But if it doesn't, you should get rid of it, just like you get rid of friends, just like you get rid of jobs, just like you get rid of money. Whatever it is, we just ask ourselves, what did I do to allow this to happen? And what am I supposed to learn from it? And the miracles are what we learn from it. The lessons are the miracles. The lessons are the value. The lessons are the fulfillment and the passion and the purpose. And when we have that perspective and learn to control our perspective so we don't get off of the trajectory, we can manifest things or allow them to happen more rapidly and accurately, which creates more happiness for us and for others.
Yeah, that reminds me of a story that when I had Jared Robbins is Tony Robbins' son. I had him on my podcast, and I asked him, I said, what did you wish you knew at 21? And he says, when I was 21, I got a brand new BMW for my birthday. And he says, I felt like I was like the coolest kid on the block. I felt like $1 million. And he said after 2 weeks, he's like, it lost all its value. And he says, what I wish I knew was that if you can attach your goals to, if you attach the things you want to goals and to a process and to a work ethic, the value of the thing that the reward becomes so much more valuable and cherished. So he tells me, he says his father, Tony, he tried out this brand new Bugatti that it costs like $2.1 million or something.
Yeah.
And he said, you know, it's a cool car, but, and obviously I could write a check for it tomorrow or today for that matter. But if I don't attach a goal to it, then it just loses its value in seconds. So he says, when I feed 1 billion people, and this is part of his Feed America campaign, he says, when I feed 1 billion people, that's when I'll buy the car. So to me, that was so amazing to understand that attaching work ethic to that goal becomes so much more valuable, and that's how you add value to things.
Yeah, and I think still today, one of the most fulfilling things was buying my mom a house and a car. And still today, you know, I buy for her 70th birthday, bought her a new car, and people ask me, well, I turned 50 at the same time she turned the 75, sorry, Mom. Now she's gonna kill me. But I turned 50 at the same time, and they asked, you know, what was the greatest birthday present? I said, well, number one, I had 50 birthday parties this year to raise money for the Unstoppable Foundation. Yeah. And build communities.
I saw in the book.
Build communities. Yeah, and Jack Canfield helped support me by writing the book with Cynthia for charity. But the best material gift was allowing things to come through me and surprising my mom with another new car at 75. You know, which, as she says, will be her last car.
Hopefully not. Hopefully not.
I doubt it. So, but you know, those are the blessings. And I think when you analyze what Tony's son said, right, is he's enjoying the pursuit.
Yeah. The process.
Yeah. Yeah. And nothing else matters. You know, I had a call with some terrific people yesterday, and we were talking about the illusions. I study the Course in Miracles every morning. And one of the most difficult things about reading the Kabbalah, the Old Testament, the New Testament, every single one is you start realizing the illusions of the man-made constructs, like time, right? The man-made construct of money. And what you want to value is the energy in which time and money are made up with, the multidimensional aspects of time and money, which are two key components of living our lives. And when we understand that multidimensional aspect, we realize that what the life is about is faith, right? Faith. And when you can control your perspective through faith, you can control anything. And that's the pursuit of your purpose and passion, or your profession, or your personal life, or your philanthropic efforts, whatever it is. I put faith in what I want. It's that simple. I put faith in what I want, which is I want the truth. I want to know the potential. I want not only to have and reach the potential that I have in all aspects of what I desire, but I want to help empower others as well to pursue their potential and have faith in the things that they want. And hopefully they want the same thing I want, which is to empower others to be happy.
That's amazing. That's amazing. So we're going to do a quick rapid fire question session, and cool. that will end the podcast. That will end the episode. In the back of the book, you credit a lot of mentors that you got to meet, play golf with, work with, and all these different things. Which of those pieces of advice would you say stuck out the most for you, or stuck with you the most?
Lee Steinberg, you know, be kind to my future self. You know, that's a powerful, powerful statement to see beyond the present, and to do such good deeds that you have faith that it'll all come back. In your future self will be a higher self, one of a greater potential. So be kind to your future self.
What do you want others to say about you once you pass on?
Thank you. Thank you. That's it.
Awesome. What does success mean to you?
Enjoying the consistent, persistent pursuit of my potential. That's success.
How do you perceive fear?
Ego. Fear is simply an emotion that's attached to an ego, and I just cancel it, clear it, connect to that which inspires me, change my trajectory back to my potential, my truth, or my center.
What's your morning and daily routine?
Two different routines. One is at home and one's on the road, since I do travel a lot. The one at home is I'm up at 4 a.m. I meditate and read the Course in Miracles, do research. 6:30, which we're upon right now, to 7:30 is family time. 7:30 to 8 o'clock is coaching calls. 8 o'clock is figure out the response of the day. So very technique. Then I basically work until I try to get home, I leave the office right at 5. And then I spend family time right when I get home. I do coaching calls on the way home in my drive, and then I spend family time all the way until I pass out. I don't go to sleep. I try to stay awake till 11. Sometimes I make it, sometimes I don't. I'm becoming more humble and honest. It frustrates my wife because she says, don't tell people you wake up at 4 a.m. and you stay up to 11 every night. You know you're in bed by 8 sometimes. The truth is always vibrates the fastest.
Yeah, and I think that image of to your kids of you falling asleep while spending time with them is amazing, and that will stick with them forever, because it's not like, I got to go wake up at 4 a.m. You're like, what are you doing at 4 a.m? You're snoring away, but instead you sit on whatever it is, the couch, the table, just hanging out with them until you literally conk out. That will stick with them forever, and they'll remember, like, our dad just really wanted to be with us, and even though he had a million other things to do that were arguably maybe more important, I mean, obviously not, but maybe in that moment, that will stick with them forever. That's amazing.
Yeah. Remember, kids don't listen to you. They watch you. That's the best piece of advice. Love your children. They will not listen to you, but they will watch you.
Mm-hmm. What's your favorite book? Can't be your own.
No. Power of Intention by Wayne Dyer, or Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. Tied.
And Wayne Dyer was one of your mentors, right?
Yeah. I wish Napoleon Hill, he's a spiritual mentor. This is my daughter, Mia. Say hi.
Good morning.
Hi.
Straight A's. She's 7 for 7 to get into college too. So.
Do all your kids wake up at 7:30 in the morning?
They wake up early. So yeah, my mom's secret to having 6 kids was wake us all up at 5 a.m. because we wouldn't have enough energy to get into trouble later in the day.
That's hilarious.
It's true.
What did you wish? Who's your role model?
My mom. Simple.
No brainer.
No brainer. I'm gonna cry.
Oh, wow. And I've heard you talk about the things that you've done for your mom and the things that your mom's done for you, and you tear up. And to me, that's amazing that every time you talk about it, years and years later, you still have those same emotions. Like they don't dissipate at all. It's really incredible. It means it's true.
Yeah, because I'm just so blessed. That's what appreciation is about. There's no doubt in my mind that, gosh, without her, it's amazing.
Yeah, that's to me, that's real gratitude.
Yeah. Oh, I wake up every morning going, I can't believe, I can, but how did I get so blessed? And I think, gosh, without my mom, I don't know where I'd be.
What did you wish you knew at 21?
Radical humility to ask for help. I wish, I know Tony's son, but boy, I wish somebody would tell me the 2 questions, the secret of life. Number 1, ask as many people as you can during the day how you can be of service and help them. And 2, ask if they know anyone that can help you.
Yeah, that's powerful. If you could send one message to the entire world, what would it be?
Say thank you.
Good. And what's the next big thing coming for you?
That's
not confidential.
I know. I'm gonna move our office, our media company. I got several TV offers for the elevator pitch, but our media company in whole is exploding, and I'm gonna put my podcast studio in the new stadium in LA, and our media offices in the new stadium in LA. So I'm very, very excited about what's happening with my media company.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And I know you're all about giving value to others, but what can people do for you?
2 things, very simply. Please share my content. That means read my books. I'll send it to you free. It's not about making money. I'll pay for shipping. I don't care. I'll send you an ebook, but share my content, on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, whatever. And 2, do good deeds, meaning be kind to your future self. If you can share my content and do good deeds, trust me, you're doing me and yourself a huge blessing. Thank you.
That's awesome. Yeah, and here's the book, Connected to Goodness. I just got it. I think it was last week. Just start reading it. It's amazing. Just the intro, the introduction, and the preface is just unbelievable. It's a long first chapter, but it's just mind blowing. Really is. It's incredible to see that process of you going from the beginning until where you are today. It's just really mind blowing.
Thank you so much. And anything I can do for you, please let me know. Thanks for taking the time to do this.
Thank you. Thank you so much, David.